Hello again, folks. It's me and my little Lego boy with his spaceship shirt on. Alright, we're going to do a little bit of maths. I think it's going to be maths for Wednesday, the 22nd of April, whilst we're still off school. And guess what? It's not algebra. How cool is that? And I'll also make an apology for the light. I know it's not very bright in here. I've just blown a bulb. I've just ordered some on Amazon, so hopefully a couple of sheets' time it'll be a little bit brighter. Anyway. The good news is it's not algebra. The bad news is it will be algebra again soon, but this is all part of the bigger picture. And again, I'm conscious of not pushing on with too much new material. We will be reviewing some stuff soon. But we are going to do a little bit of a division today. I'll show you a couple of different ways. So this first question here, 2.4 divided by 3 or shared by 3. How do you go about doing something like this? Well, for me, you know I'm always going on about it, how much I like fractions and the like. So I'm happy when I see a divide sign to think of the whole problem as a fraction. So put 2.4 over 3. The reason for that is that now I can look at it and think, okay, can I cancel it down at all? Well, obviously no, because I've got a decimal on a fraction. We don't like decimals mixed in with fractions. So can we get rid of the decimal? Well, yeah, I guess you can. The easiest way to get rid of a decimal, if it's one decimal place long, is just to times by 10. So what I would probably now do is just take top and bottom and times by 10. Okay, now if I do that, that then creates 24 over 30. Now, you've been around the block long enough to know about simplifying fractions, equivalent fractions and all the rest of it. So in this case here, 24 divided by 30, we start saying, okay, what can I divide by? What's the common factor top and bottom? Well, biggest number that goes into top and bottom, the highest common factor in this case is, you all shout 6, to 6. So if we basically divide by 6 top and bottom, and I'm going to do that just for a second because it's the highest common factor, you can see that we end up with 24 divided by 6 on the top gives me 4, and 30 divided by 6 on the bottom gives me 5, which is the right answer. Now, so many people go, oh, it's a fraction, it can't be right. Well, it is right, okay, 4/5 is the right answer to this question. It isn't maybe the normal answer you would go with, and part of the reason for that would be, when we had the 24 divided by 30, in this case, perhaps what you would do is, rather than divide by the highest common factor, you'd actually play the game, and if you really were desperate to get as a decimal, you'd be saying, well, I want the bottom number to be a 10. Or 100 or 1,000, and that allows you to then put it as a decimal. So if we go back to the 24 over 30, okay, and we have already got the right answer, but instead of dividing by 6 top and bottom, if we divided by 3 instead, then we would get 24 divided by 3 on the top is 8, 30 divided by 3 is 10. Now, no surprise there, 4/5, 8/10 are the same, you probably can get that. But 8/10, because we've got the number on the bottom of the denominator is 10, that means it's an easy transference to a decimal. So 8/10, or 8 over 10, is just 0.8. And that is your right answer as well. But, you know, please don't go thinking the 4/5 is wrong. It's not. It's the fraction's simplest form. It's just that if you really wanted the 0.8, there it is. And then the final thing for this one is, and a lot of people would say, well, okay, all of that effort just to get the 0.8, why didn't you just do bus stop? Well, okay, you could have done on this one here. So put my bus stop in, 2.4, and divide by 3. The only thing if we're going to do bus stop is make sure that my decimal point on the top matches with the number I'm dividing by. So in this case, if we go 3 goes into 2, well, it doesn't, 0 times, so I put my 0 there. Carry that 2 along, so we couldn't put it into the 2, so we'll go into 24 now, and 3 goes into 24 8 times, and of course that gets me the 0.8, which is the same. You're probably going to say, well, that's just the easy way, all right? We should always do that. Well, we'll come to that in a second. So moving on now, 1.4 divided by 6, not 1.4, 1.44 divided by 6 in this case here. What would we do? Well, I'm going to do the fraction way again, 1.44 over 6. This time we've got 2 decimal places, yuck. Probably the best way to get rid of that is to times by 100. So if I do that top and bottom, that gives me 144 over 600. And now you're thinking, wow, that was pretty tough, all right? Have I got to simplify that all the way down? Well, we're not going to look for the fraction lines this time. We're going to go for decimal. We've got it over 600. We're on a decimal. Basically, let's try and get it over 100. So if I divide top and bottom by 6 here, okay, Obviously the bottom is going to be the easy one. That's just going to give me something over 100. Yes, you've now got to do 144 divided by 6. Now I know a lot of you will be thinking, reach for the calculator to do that, okay? Again, in itself, you could do the bus stop for that as well. It's not the end of the world if you really had to, okay? But it's probably not the hardest thing in the world to do. You know, they think about 6. We have 10 6 is 60. 26 is 120. You've got 24 left. So that's another 4 6s. So it's 24. Okay, big deal, all right? Not too bad. So we end up with 24 over 100. So we can see we've got 0.24. Now, again, if you'd have committed at the start for the bus stop, 1.44 and 6. 6 doesn't go into 1. Okay, so 0. Carry it along. 6 into 14 goes twice with 2. And 6 into 24 goes the 4. So we can get it that way, and you're going to be like, again, it's easier, it's quicker, just do bus stop. Well, okay, what about this next one? Because 56 divided by 0.8, I ain't going to do bus stop with a 0.8 outside, trying to think how many 0.8s go into something, because, well, it's just not very easy. It's, you know, mixing decimals and division and all that, it sounds a bit hard. So this is an example where I probably wouldn't initially just do a bus stop. But if I write it down as the fraction here, 56 over 0.8, what we can see now is, again, got a decimal mixed up with a fraction. We need to get rid of that decimal, just one decimal place, so times by 10, top and bottom. And so we're going to get 560 divided by 8. Now, the whole point of this now is, this stage, if you really need to, now we can try and get that bottom number to be a 10, 100 or 1,000. That's not the easiest from an 8. It is okay at this stage now, if you so choose, and you've got a number you feel you can divide, to do the bus stop. That's not the end of the world. So if we want to do 560 divided by 8, okay, all right, let's go for it. 8 into 5 doesn't go, we'll carry the 5 along. 8 into 56, okay, or you could talk about 8 into 560, you know, is going to go 7 times. And so we'll put the 7 there, put the 0 there because 8 doesn't go into 0, and there's our answer, 70. So it's easier now to see that, but certainly we wouldn't want to be dividing by 0.8. So a lot of this stuff is, as I said to you before, get rid of the decimal. Anyway, moving on. We'll see this next question, if you can just about see it. Find the height of this rectangle. So we've got 72 metres squared for an area, 0.6 for a width. A lot of this question is now working out what we're trying to do, okay? So we think about a rectangle, height times width equals area. So this times this is going to give me the 72. So the opposite of times is going to be a divide. So the idea is here, it's the same question as previously. We've just got to do 72 divided by 0.6. A bit like we had before, 72 over 0.6, yuck, all right, don't like mixing decimals and fractions, so times by 10 top and bottom, so we'll get 720 divided by 6. Oh, I feel reasonably confident with that now. If you really want to do the bus stop, you can do, okay, 720 divided by 6, 6 into 7 goes once, 6 into 12 goes twice, and then you got your naught. So the answer is, this side here, believe it or not, is 120 metres long. Sounds a bit mad, but it was only 0.6 metres wide. Note, not to scale. This one here, what we got, find the perpendicular height of this triangle. Tricky question this, I've seen them in GCSE similar to this. You need to remember how you work out the area of a triangle. So it's base times height and then divide by 2. So whatever this perpendicular height here is, okay, at 90 degrees to the base, what we're going to do is 12 times this and then divide by 2 will give me the 4.8. If we think smart, I'm just going to put a question mark here, okay, for argument's sake. This times 12 divided by 2 equals 4.8. 12 times this divided by 2. Whichever order you say it in, it's the same thing. I'm going to actually do it in the order where it's question mark times 12 divided by 2 gives me the 4.8 for a reason. Because what I want you to see is now, this actual calculation is more complex than we had previously. And so what I'm going to think is, but by writing it in this order, the 12 divided by 2, you can actually simplify it, make it a lot easier for yourself. So 12 divided by 2 is just 6. So whatever that height is, times 6 will give me 4.8. We can now see what are we trying to do? Opposite of times by 6, we need to do 4.8 divide by 6. So, similar to what we had before. Oh, sorry if you couldn't see that, it was just gone off the bottom of the screen. But what we've now got is 4.8 divided by 6. If I write it down here, 4.8 over 6. Don't like the decimals mixed up with the fractions, so we'll times by 10 top and bottom. So that will give you 48 over 60. And now I'd probably go back to the way I did the original ones and go, all right, let's try and just get it over 10. So divide by 6 top and bottom, because it should be reasonably easy. I'm sort of counting down. That will give me 10 on the bottom. And how many 6s go into 48? I'm a bit tired. I think that should be 8 last time I checked. And so 8/10 is 0.8. So that means that this height here is 0.8 meters. Okay, so there you go. There's a bit of division too. You've got some practice questions on the Your Turn sheets as well. And any issues, give me a shout. Look after yourselves and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.